I just think, I'm kind of anxious for Friday night. Just to, we're going to try to throw and catch Friday night with people in the stands. See if we can play some man-to-man coverage, if guys can cover guys. But to answer your question, I think, just throwing and catching the ball, it continues to improve. And it's really, at times, pretty impressive, some of the things we're doing. I think all three quarterbacks, some receivers stepping up, I think, that are going to have an opportunity to help us. So, if anything stood out, I think it's just with the ball in the air, guys making plays. Quarterbacks throwing the ball better and guys catching the ball better.
Coach, just what have you seen from Carlos Wiggins this spring? Does he look healthy?
Yeah, Carlos is healthy. I think, using Carlos outside at the wide receiver position, I think really helps him because he's so sudden off the ball and he gets downfield. He'll play a little bit of slot, but it looks like going in, he's going to be a guy out there on the outside that can do some things for us. But yeah, he's good. He's hungry. I think the way the season finished last year, with the frustrations of the season, but yet he had some success in the last game against Wyoming. I've been really pleased with him. He's been voted as one of the leaders by the team. He's on the leadership council. So, I think he's having a good spring. We let him out Friday to go run track, which I think, there's not many football coaches around the country probably doing that, but whatever we can do to help. I think it was good for him and good for our track team.
Is he going to be returning kickoffs and punts?
He'll be returning kickoffs for sure, and he's definitely in the mix of returning punts. We started practice out today, the first period, with some full-speed punt returns. We got four full-speed punt returns, and we're going to continue to do some of that Friday night. Carlos was back there, and Carlos did a good job on his opportunity. So he's definitely in the mix to be our punt returner as well.
Coach, what's your theory on the guys you mentioned, Carlos, and guys like him and Ridge, kind of pulling double duty running track as well?
I think I've let them do it since they've been here. I think what's ever good for their self-esteem. And I have one thing. If they can go out there and help the team, whether it's in baseball, whether it's in track, whatever it is, if they can go out and score points and help the Lobos win, I'm all for it. Certain guys are able to handle it, certain guys aren't. But I think Rich Jones and Carlos Wiggins are two guys that it definitely benefits them and also benefits our track team from them doing it. So, I'm all for it.
Coach, what has Lamar's progression been like with somebody like Austin pushing him?
It's been impressive. I knew Lamar Jordan would be a guy that wouldn't back down. He just has that kind of personality. I've seen that since high school, and he certainly has it. He's not going to give that job up, and he has improved. And I think both Lamar and Austin have become really good friends. They live together. And also Juwan Lawson. All three of those quarterbacks are really putting a lot of pressure on each other, and I think they've improved the play overall at that position. But, Lamar Jordan's had an outstanding spring. There's no denying that. He's improved his technique throwing the football. I think he's tremendously confident right now. And to be honest, I'm really, I told my wife Joanne the other night, I can't wait to watch these quarterbacks play in the fall. I mean that. I can't wait to watch them.
Even with Colwaras out, you had enough depth at nose, it looks like, to move Jack Ziltz to the outside. How's the nose position?
It's looked okay in practice. We do have some depth there. Uday, I think that's where he belongs. I think he's found a home there. He's now a guy that's played a lot of football going into his junior year. So I think he has a chance to help us. Also, Taylor Timmons is a guy that, good thing we redshirted him last year because he's still behind. But it looks like he has some ability to do it in there. Dom Twitty hasn't done much this spring. Dom actually started the Wyoming game. He gives us some depth in there, and then hopefully we're going to get Cole Juarez back. We can always take one of those guys and move them to defensive end if we have to. William Uday's played some there. I also think Timmons could maybe play there. But yeah, we've got a little depth inside. I went in the offensive room Friday night. They're in there watching tape, and I was watching Andrew Aqua at offensive tackle. People don't realize that Andrew Aqua, his freshman year at Notre Dame, my first year here, played in the Southern game on defense and didn't start against Texas, but played a lot against Texas at nose guard. So we've come a bit of a ways on just depth. So I feel pretty good about that position. You know, hopefully we can get some plays and guys, you know, make some plays for us in there.
Anybody in the recruiting class that's like definite pure nose tackle?
No, you know, both the guys coming in, all three of the guys coming in are more defensive end type prospects. I mean, Chris Lewis is a big body that I think he's more of a defensive end, though, than a nose guard. So our nose guards are going to play are the guys that are here right now.
You mentioned Quarles on Friday, and I've heard other people, hey, he's really going to be a star. What makes him so special?
Well, you know, he's a potential guy. You know, he's a potential piece of the puzzle right now. I can't anoint him just yet. But he's done some good things. You know, he's a taller guy. He can stick his foot in the ground. He can get vertical. He can get up the field. He can jump and make plays on the ball. He looks the way that, you know, receivers look when you look around this country just physically. So he's a guy that can go up and make a big play down the field right now. He needs to improve his overall game, but he's definitely a talented young player. I do think he has a really bright future here and in the Mountain West Conference.
Coach,
Coach, what are you
just
hoping
what's
to
your
see?
position on, you know, paying for players?
I think you need to probably term that something different. You know, I do agree that cost of attendance is a legitimate thing and a good thing. You know, our players will go home 3 weeks in May. 3 weeks in May, and they're back here. And then if we do go to a bowl game next year, they won't go home at Christmas. So they get 3 weeks in May, and they get a spring break. And that's going on all around the country. And I don't know that I agree with that 100%, that that's the way it should be. But that is the way it is now. I mean, that horse has left the barn. That's what college football is. Basically, you get 3 weeks off in May. There's no chance for summer jobs. There's no chance to put a little money in your pocket or have a little income over the summer. So we have to do something. You know, all we're talking about is cost of attendance that other students on the campus find a way to get. These players can't get another job. They have a job as it is playing football. And certainly they have their education paid for, but there's a lot of other expenses just in living. So I think it's a good thing. I really do, and I'm all for it 100%. In fact, you know, the reason we have a college football playoff right now is that a lot of that money that's coming in, divided up against Mountain West Conference schools from the fact we had a national championship playoff series, was for that intent, to make welfare for student athletes better. So there's significantly more income coming into programs through the fact that we had a national championship. Well, I think it should go to the players. That was the intent, you know. So I think it's definitely a positive thing. I don't classify that as paying players. I simply look at that as what it costs to go to school year round. So I think it's a positive thing, and I do think everybody's cost attendance ought to be pretty close to the same. I don't agree just because you're in a certain city as a college student that your expenses are that much more significant. You know, you're not going out and eating steak or going to the prime restaurants, or, you know, you're a college student on a campus. So I don't see where one school's cost of attendance should be any higher than another school's cost of attendance, because they're not paying mortgage. You know, it should be one cost of attendance for every school. But I do agree it's a heck of a benefit, and it's something that should happen.
Coach, about Friday, are you hoping to start some kind of tradition with that? You know, like get the people out and have some fun?
Yeah, get the people out and have fun. I think that's a pretty good tradition right there. And hopefully in the fall, get people out, have fun, and watch the Lobos win. So I'm going to do on Friday what gives us the best chance to win in the fall. So if it's opening that stadium up, getting a little more energy in here, maybe potentially getting a new fan that hasn't been here before, I'm doing it. And then also on the field, I'm going to do what gives us the best chance to win. So I'm not going to mindlessly go out there and let 22 guys go against 22 guys when they're all Lobos. So the other thing that helps us in the fall to win is to work on some specific things out here that give us the best chance. So, yeah, I'm all for it because it gives us a better chance to win in the fall, and that's all I care about.
How have you felt about opening up the practices here for the first time? And you said, you know, before they started that if you get one more butt, you know, in a seat, that helps us win a game in the fall.
I got one guy, Larry Wilson. And if Larry Wilson is out here on Tuesday and Wednesday, I've got a game jersey with his name on it. So I've had two guys, Rick Wright and Larry Wilson, have been the two guys that have been out here each and every day. So, you know, I appreciate it. I haven't noticed a great difference. You know, it's about the same number of people basically, because we let people in anyhow when they called and asked if they could come. So as far as numbers, it's been about exactly the same, quite honestly. I think the media's been out here more and taking advantage of it, which is a good thing. after spending my time in the media, I want to do whatever I can to help the media. I notice Lou Holtz now is not going to be back at ESPN, so our numbers are dwindling a little bit. But no, I think it's been a good thing. If it's one more person in the stands, and honestly, I think if you guys get the chance to see us do things more and just how we operate, I think you see a little bit more about the culture of Lobo football and what these kids invest and what these coaches invest. I think there's probably a little more mutual respect. At least I hope there is, because I see how hard you guys work at it. And hopefully you can come out here and see how hard we work at it and how hard these kids work at it. So I think it's more mutual respect, and I think it's more probably excitement for what's going to happen in the fall, because there's been some good things happen out here. Okay?